It is Friday, and it is the Ooped Up Show, and it is BC, and I got a fresh coffee. So to my amplified unit, I say, let's do this! It's good to be back, rocking and rolling, clanging and banging, crashing and bashing with the unit. So hopefully you guys grabbed your beverages, sit back, max, and relax while BC drops some facts. And I do believe the last upload that went live on the channel was the Raw review from earlier in the week, so it's been a few days. And I know there's been a lot of big stories that got out there in the pro wrestling world. A lot of these stories you guys have been waiting on BC's take on. Well, believe me when I say you're going to get those takes in today's Amped Up Show. In fact, you're going to get a lot of hot takes because it has been a few days. And because I have had a lot of coffees. And because it is Friday. So we ain't holding nothing back. Hell, we don't hold nothing back on a Monday. What? A Tuesday. What? A Wednesday. What? A Thursday. What? The weekend. What? So, of course, Friday, we're bringing that amplification. We are fired up, so I say we get right into it. And just to give you a glimpse of some of the stories we'll be tackling in today's Amped Up Show, the big new TV deal that TNA scored with AMC and the role that WWE played in it. Because there's some contradicting reports, right? Conflicting reports. Fightful says one thing. And then Carlos Silva, the president of TNA, tries to do some damage control and says the complete opposite. But it's what Carlos Silva said in that damage control that is greatly concerning, greatly alarming. And it tells us all just how much control WWE has on TNA. And this statement from Carlos Silva probably went over a lot of your guys' heads, but we're going to go over it, man. That's coming up in today's show. And some talk on the Masked Man from Survivor Series, because this has gone from just a little bit of a fun conversation for people to have, a real whodunit, who do you think it's going to be? And now it's just gotten to a point where it is sadly laughable. I think that's a good way to describe it. And some of the names now that you're hearing, if it's just for a laugh, okay. But some of the names that are being tossed out there, people truly believe that this is who it's going to be. The first part of this, why it's so damn hilarious, sadly laughable, I call it, is because people are putting more into this than Hunter Hearst Helmsley is. I assure you, Helmsley has no idea who it's going to be. This was a quick little easy way to end the pay-per-view without any thought. I'll go back to this down the road. He probably has no idea who attacked Jacob Fatu. And I'm pretty sure when Jade Cargill got taken out, he had no idea which way he was going. So it's always hilarious to see the fans put more time and energy into something than Helmsley is actually doing. But it's one name in particular that a lot of people are starting to throw out there. And it's the most laughable. Like, I literally had to spit my coffee out late Tuesday evening when I first saw this. And it was picking up traction in the community. I laughed, spit my coffee out because it was so absurd. And then it dawned on me, no, people are serious. They actually think it's this one name. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you this one name, and I am going to give you some of the biggest factors as to why there's not a chance under the sun that it's this dude. And we will talk Pat McAfee making his 14th return to the company as the college football season is about to come to an end. So this is usually the time of the year where Pat McAfee clears out some time in his schedule for the lowest priority on the totem pole. The lowest priority on the to-do list, little old WWE. And WWE is more than happy to pick up the McAfee scraps. McAfee chooses anything and everything as a priority over WWE. And WWE's like, hey, whenever you have time for us, we'll have you. We will kick Corey Graves to the curb. We'll give Wade Barrett das Boot. Even though you said 1,000,000 times that you do not follow the product, we don't care. Because they're always right there to blow smoke up McAfee's ass. There was Nick Khan just 2 days ago. Nick Khan on the Pat McAfee show. Blowing smoke up McAfee's ass, pumping out McAfee's chest, hyping up Pat McAfee. Man, if only they did that for their actual roster. Could you imagine Helmsley or Nick Khan or these suits and ties pumping up R-Truth or an LA Knight or a Karrion Kross or a Drew B. McIntyre? The amount of energy and time that they spend kissing the ass of Pat McAfee because he, quote, made it big. It's pathetic. And it's degrading to watch WWE just be the side chick. The side chick to the side chick of the side chick. And I'm going to drop a truth bomb in this cold open teaser because the fact is, if Pat McAfee didn't get as big as he got over the last several years, Paul Levesque McMahon, Schnoz McGee, the doofus son-in-law, would not be coddling McAfee's balls the way that he does had he not gotten that success. Nicholas Khan, the president of WWE, would not be doing the Pat McAfee show as often as he does it if McAfee didn't score big. This company bends over backwards for McAfee because of his success. They bend over backwards every time McAfee has any shred of open availability. Because that's what they're doing. This company bends over backwards and says, go as deep as you want. This company has not one shred of dignity left. So quick to whore themselves out for any D-list celebrity or sports broadcaster or anyone with some name value. If only they put that amount of time and energy into their own talent. If only they pumped up their own talent like they do those outside the walls of this company. And if you think I had a lot to say about that in the cold open, that's just a piece. Because I got a lot more to talk about when it comes to that story later in the show. But first, you know we have to talk the Red Brand from World Wrestling Entertainment. As for the first time ever, WWE's Monday Night Raw has failed to crack the top 10 in global viewership on Netflix. Which means Monday Night Raw failed to qualify for a number. Netflix only releases their top 10 in global viewership. Monday Night Raw was nowhere on that list. What that means is we don't have a Raw number. It didn't even register. Netflix has no intention of even talking about Raw. Netflix only cares about their bread and butter, that top 10. And you can say all you want, Beasley, Stranger Things, man, it was their last season, popping off this week, Beasley. Yeah, the Last Time Is Now tour for Stranger Things. I'd rather watch Stranger Things 2 because it's an actual TV show people want to watch. It's a show with captivating characters and storylines. Yeah, I'd much rather watch Eleven and Hopper whoop some Vecna ass. I'd much rather see if Dustin is going to get that revenge on the schoolyard bullies. Yeah, I'd much rather see if Jonathan Byers is going to pull his head out of his ass and realize Nancy wants him. Forget about Steve. Will and the Scoops Ice Cream Girl are having identity crises. All hell is breaking loose on the upside down and the right side up. So yeah, Stranger Things is popping off with storylines. So it's going to gain 5 of those 10 spots. Meanwhile, in WWE, what do you have for storylines? Honestly, they just got done with the mystery attacker on Jade Cargill. And basically, Jacob Fatu got attacked by the mystery masked man. And basically, CM Punk just got attacked by another mystery masked man. And by the way, basically, it's the last time is now. You can't see me tour. John Cena is retiring. That's your stories in WWE. And you wonder why a demigod or a girl with mystery powers is whooping WWE's ass. At this point, bring back The Undertaker that shoots lightning bolts. He doesn't even have to perform a wrestling move. Do your entrance for 20 minutes. Nowadays, that might be as long as it's needed to waddle down to the ring, shoot some lightning bolts, bring back Papa Shango to do some voodoo, because that would be more entertaining than the shit we're getting now. That's the truth. WWE was way more entertaining with Papa Shango's voodoo. Trust me, I was around for that era. Papa Shango is more of a character and more fun than anything I'm getting now. Do you think, honestly, I would pick J.D. McDougalburger over Papa Shango? Or Tozawa? Or an Otis? Or an Ibar? Or any of the Pretty Deadly? Or Gargano? Or Ciampa? Carmelo, even Gunther, get out, Solo Sikoa, all of your MFTs, every single one of your MFTs. I would kick them all to the curb to get a Papa Shango back. What we wouldn't do to watch some lightning bolts shoot out of the hands of The Undertaker. Or The Undertaker to come back to life for the 12th time. But no. We get a doofus son-in-law in charge, and all he knows is, mystery attacker Jade Cargill, mystery attacker Jacob Fatu, mystery attacker CM Punk, last time is now tour. That's been the whole year, let's be honest, man. You wonder why Raw numbers are in the toilet? This whole year has been banked on John Cena's farewell tour, right? And it's been botched left and right by Helmsley. Not The Rock, Helmsley. We went over this a billion times on this channel. Now's not the time to do it 1,000,000,001 times. He's botched it left and right, but that's what he rested on. Those, 35, 36, 37, 38 dates, whatever it was. That's it. The whole year just revolved around it. What is Helmsley going to do in 2026 without a Jonathan Cena? I mean, if the year was this bad, with the John Cena, what's he going to do without John Cena? Think back to WrestleMania season. Not just WrestleMania. WrestleMania season, the worst we've ever seen. The worst we've ever experienced. The whole season even turned the bubble fans, the quote universe, against Helmsley. That's how bad it was. Helmsley had to go on record during WrestleMania season several times to tell the fans to f*** off because he was feeling the heat. SummerSlam, the worst SummerSlam season we've ever experienced. Nobody had a clue what was going on. The saddest part is the guy at the top, the doofus son-in-law, had no idea what's going on. Random matches, no real storylines, matches happening with no rhyme or reason, no purpose. Because they know they're going to collect some money, and there's going to be enough people that are going to show up no matter what and scream at the top of their lungs that this is awesome, you deserve it, all the chants, they're going to yeet, they're going to sing. They'll do all the things, and they'll gladly hand you thousands of dollars of their cash, or their parents' cash. So they don't care about the slop or the junk that they're going to lay down at the table for you to consume, because they know you're going to get right back in line and ask for seconds. So they took the whole year off. Helmsley went on a whole I'm the face of the company tour. He was on every podcast, every show, you name it, every commercial, every voiceover, Hall of Fame. He's the headliner in the Hall of Fame. He was doing it all. Press conferences for Saudi Arabia. This guy was everywhere and anywhere but his own office to do some actual work on creative and content, to make it fun, to make it intriguing for the fans. Nobody in that company that wears a suit and a tie has the time of day for the fans. Because they know there's still enough that'll buy into anything they're doing. Whether it makes sense or not, whether there's thought or care or not. But what happens when the tide starts to change? What happens when enough fans are going, no thank you? And that's what started to happen this year. Go back to last year even, especially 2 years ago. But when WWE first consumed the company from Vince McMahon, they were riding high, right? Everything that Vince built, TKO, was now just resting on it. And they just try to maximize the dollar as their president. TKO's president, Mark Shapiro, said, now we're going to do what Vince McMahon failed to do. We're going to maximize the dollar. We're going to take Vince's WWE out of the U.S. more so we can maximize the dollar, get a lot more money, right? And that's what they did. They went to all these other countries, made a lot of money. They even hardened up the Saudi Arabia deal. We'll pimp out a Royal Rumble. We'll pimp out WrestleMania. We don't care as long as you'll give us another $80 to $100 million for the show. So that's what they did. They just pimped out Vince McMahon's product. They didn't care how bad the deal is for the fans, how much this will hurt the company long term. Because in the short term, they're going to make a lot of money. And when it gets really bad, they're just going to sell it to probably Saudi anyway. But that's what they did, right? The last couple of years. So you were hearing, oh, record sellouts. They cut out all of the live events. Those are gone. So what that does is it heightens the demand on the ticket when they do come to your town. Because you don't get to see it as often. Now you have to pay the absurd price that they're asking. And that worked for a year, 2 years. But you saw something this year. It stopped working. They had the most amount of non-sellouts that they have had in years. They had no consistency in sellouts. I remember just last year they were talking, it's the 18th consecutive sellout. Or whatever stupid number. This year you heard that 0 times. They had no consistency in sellouts. They could not sell out these arenas consistently if their lives depended on it. That's the first metric right there. If you want to go by the live crowd that shows up in yeets and just makes noise from the top of the show to the end of the show, like trained seals, well, there's your metric. You're not filling the arenas like you used to. Second metric, and it's even more important than the first, your TV audience has dropped over 40%. In 1 year, you have lost 4 to 5 out of every 10 fans. Well, that's not good. You started at the top of the year on Netflix when Raw debuted at 6 million. You now are trying to hold on to 2. If you bring in all your part-timers, you might hit 3. They had to bring in Jonathan Cena, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, bring in Cody Rhodes from the Blue Brand, make sure CM Punk and AJ Lee are there. They brought in everybody. And they barely hit 3 a couple of weeks ago. And they had the height. This was a Madison Square Garden show a few weeks ago too, when they finally got back to 3, and then it went all the way back to 5, and now they don't even register. Without his part-timers and without any creativity, Helmsley is lost. And if you show him competition, he curls up in a fetal position into a ball, thumb in mouth, in a corner, and he hides until the competition is gone. we used to have fun with it, right? And go, oh man, what is it? Is it everything that WWE just cowers down to? And the excuseionists are going to be right there to coddle the balls and give an excuse. Well, but say Raw was never going to pull a good rating because Monday Night Football, boys, lie. Football's back, boys, lie. What does that mean, football? Are you just trying to tell me that people would rather watch football? Yes! Yeah, we know that. Now, if you go back to the, I'm going to do it. You guys hate when I say it, please, so you don't say it, man. The Attitude Era. But when you do, who was right there punching football square in the mug? It was WWE. It was WCW. It was two wrestling promotions because that was captivating us. Yeah, that's our team playing. Or yeah, that's a really good game. But damn, ain't no way I'm missing Vince McMahon and Stone Cold's promo. Ain't no way I'm missing Hulk Hogan in the NWO because you know Sting's coming down from those rafters. There's no way you could look away from the Monday Night Wars, man. Sorry, Monday Night Football, not sorry. Captivating. Yeah, I don't blame people for wanting to watch football over this. That's the problem. I'm not even saying you gotta go and try to beat Monday Night Football. I'm asking, can you compete? Can you compete? They're struggling to hold on to 1 million viewers every Monday domestically. Globally, they're trying to hang on to 2. I'm just asking, can you at least compete like you used to? Well, basically the NCAA championship game. Now it's down to college. Now it's kids. Kids in college are beating WWE. Well, basically, college is extremely big. It's huge. Basically, yeah, I understand. It's kids playing sports, though. It's kids in college. Do you understand how this works? So that's the problem. They can't even compete with kids in college. Basketball, football, it could be badminton. They could be swimming or playing miniature golf. They could be playing Yahtzee, some Monopoly. Chutes and ladders, some Twister. Doesn't matter. It's gonna beat WWE Raw. And then you go even farther, right? Well, basically, it was Veterans Day, basically. It was a memorial. It was a day of memorial, basically. Okay, so everybody just stays out at 8, 9, 10 p.m. and lights candles and what do you do? I don't understand. You don't eventually go in and put on the TV because it's Memorial Day or Veterans Day? National Ice Cream Day? So the natural question is, where does it end, man? We understand all these things can affect the number. But WWE just absolutely crumbles, and we know why. It's because the number is so low already. Even without competition, the number is so low. Look at SmackDown, right? They were barely hanging on to 1 million viewers. They were at a 1.1. And for 2 weeks, they were at a 1.023 and 1.025. By just 20-some-odd thousand viewers, they were hanging on to 1 million. And then Halloween came along. I think it was Halloween, something like that. And they got crushed into 900,000 viewers. Under 1 million for the first time in show history. And people just blame Halloween, BC, or whatever it was. No, you're not understanding. The number was already so low. So that when something comes along and slaps it across its mug, they can't even absorb the hit. Nobody wants to talk about the numbers being so low without competition, though. They just want to make excuses. Well, it's because of this, BC, and this, BC, and this, BC. Where does it end? Right, you say big sporting events. Okay, whatever. That's always going to be an excuse everyone's going to want to use. Sporting events. Or big events. Then we go to holidays. Basically holidays. It doesn't even matter the holiday anymore. Again, I joke all the time, but you could have National Ice Cream Day. And if the number is so low, people will use that as an excuse. Sporting events, holidays, and now we're stretching it to just shows. Shows! Stranger Things, BC, that's why. BC, I mean, come on, man. You gotta lighten up. I mean, Stranger Things came out. That's the problem. Why are we letting this company off the hook always for everything? Man, we never used to do that. WWE didn't care what it was. They were going to compete, even if they got their asses whooped. They competed. Guys, I came from an era where they had a halftime heat show. Do you know what that was? They tried to get the audience from the Super Bowl. They had a commercial during the Super Bowl, and then at halftime, they wanted you to flip over. I believe it was the USA Network, and I think it was like Mick Foley and The Rock. Falls count anywhere. Maybe even the title was on the line. Maybe the title changed hands. I'm a little foggy. It's been a while. Many years. But they were like, how can we get that Super Bowl audience? Man, that was a time when they competed, when they were fighting. Now they curl up in a ball. Well, I don't know what we're supposed to do. The NBA comes back this week. Let's just phone it in. Stranger Things is on. Oh, man. Let's just give them a Charlie Flair, Alexa Bliss versus Rhea, and Io match. Faces versus faces. Who cares? We can't compete with the strangest of all the things. We can't compete with Little 11 and her superpowers. No, but there's a time WWE did care and they could compete. Right? I mean, check this out. Just, guys, look at the facts. Netflix paid WWE $5 billion, right? $5 billion for the rights to Raw. $5 billion. Meanwhile, Stranger Things. Until this year, a season cost approximately $300 to $350 million for an entire season. This year, it is reported $400 to $500 million just for this season. And this is the last season. So you wrap up all 5 years. Let's just say it's top $350 million for the first 4 seasons of Stranger Things. That's 714 over 4. And let's say it's the peak $500 million cost for this year. That is 1.9. So let's round it up even. Let's call it $2 billion to produce 5 seasons of Stranger Things. It's under $2 billion, by the way. But let's just round it up. Easier to say and discuss. $2 billion, 5 seasons of Stranger Things. Now, the upfront deal for Raw is 10 years with an opt-out after 5. I've said it from day one. Netflix is furious with WWE. They're not even going to the opt-out 5. Within 3 years, they're going to try to find a loophole and get out of this deal. Netflix is not happy at all. Furious. And I don't blame them. But even if you want to do the scope of 10 years for $5 billion, 5 seasons of Stranger Things, under $2 billion. If you double that, you'd still be under $4 billion for 10 seasons of Stranger Things. Under $4 billion, 10 seasons, and it's rocking the charts. WWE Raw is not even on the charts. There's 5 or 6 other spots on the global list, and it couldn't touch any of them. Stranger Things didn't have all 10 spots, man. And I'm saying it's bad enough that Stranger Things had 5 and WWE didn't have 1. But you could produce 10 seasons of Stranger Things for under $4 billion. Meanwhile, you just gave WWE $5 billion. And they don't even register on your top 10. This is live, quote, sports and entertainment. You thought for sure. Netflix said it themselves, guys. They said this is a juggernaut that for the next 10 years will be a top 5 hit. Bro, you fell out of the top 10 in the first year. You fell out of the top 10. Where do you see this in 2, 3, 4 years from now? If Netflix couldn't find a loophole and they crawl into that 5th year before they can opt out, where do you think WWE is going to be ranking if they lost over half their audience in 1 year from 6 million at the top of the year to now trying to cling to 2 point some odd? Where do you think they are 2, 3, 4 years from now? Do you think honestly they're around maybe 900,000, 800,000 maybe globally, and maybe I'm being generous? Because if they lose another half of their audience in 1 year, then globally they'd be at a 1.2, 1.3. And then in another year, if they lose another half, they're at 600,000. That is the trajectory that they're on. Yeah. Stranger Things came around and smacked them upside the dome piece because even their 0 to 12 demo that loves to yeet every Monday said, no thanks, I gotta go check up on 11 and her superpowers. Gotta see what's going on with Joyce Byers, with Nancy and Will and Dustin. It's not sports anymore. It's not holidays. It's not Stranger Things. It's anything. Can we just be honest finally? It's anything, guys. WWE on its own lost half their viewership in 1 year. They started with 6 million. Do you know what that means? 6 million people gave this show a chance at the top of the year. They brought back a lot of casuals. They're like, let's see, man. They stacked the show. Let's see if there's anything worth sticking around, especially with WrestleMania coming up at that time. This was early January. It's Mania season. 6 million people said, all right, we'll give you a chance. We're ending the year and we don't even have a number. They couldn't even crack the top 10. So yeah, that's some big news there, man. That is what you call humble pie for World Wrestling Entertainment. When they heard the news that they didn't even crack the top 10. But they're so emboldened, right? And oblivious in so many ways. They honestly believe that WWE is still the juggernaut that Vince McMahon made it. Which, again, it's nowhere near what Vince McMahon created. But they honestly believe their own shit. That they're probably just going, oh, Stranger Things, that makes sense. Yeah, we'll be back in the top 10. We'll be in the 7 or 8, maybe 9. Maybe we'll be at that 10 spot, but we'll be nice and cozy next week, probably. Everybody relax. It was just Stranger Things that whooped the ass. Because just like a lot of the fan base, they'll find the excuses as to why WWE's not at fault. We're producing the best content ever. It's just all of these other things are worth watching before us. All of these other things are more engaging, more interesting. But maybe, when everybody's done with all of that, maybe they'll stop by and watch a few minutes of our show. Man, do you remember watching wrestling, man? It was appointment television. You couldn't fathom watching something else. Or even debating if you're going to watch that wrestling show later. You had to watch it. Oh, man. It's gotten so bad that even the clips on the social or all across the interweb machine, the clips of the shows, people aren't even watching them. The algorithms are showing that they're spending like 30, 40 seconds on 8 to 10 minute clips. They're not even watching it. That was the excuse for a while. Well, basically, a lot of people are just watching the highlights online afterwards. Guys, they're not even watching the highlights anymore. They're on long enough to count a view, but then they're like, all right, that's all I need to see. I do not need to see 20 minutes of Charlotte, Alexa, Io, and Rhea starting Raw off, saying a bunch of words for 20 minutes just to set up a faces versus faces main event later, and then watch 20 to 25 minutes of the actual match at the end of the show. People are like, all right, I'm not missing anything. I don't need to see Gunther versus Solo Sikoa for 25 minutes. That's what you got this week. Heel versus heel for 25 minutes. Gunther, who has no character right now. Can we all just be honest? Gunther, I don't care if he's the last opponent for John Cena anymore. Last year I cared. Maybe the fact that he got neutered so badly by Helmsley. I don't know what the guy is anymore. He walks to the ring. He used to have a personality, at least when he was playing up that heel. Now it's like Helmsley has completely neutered him. Don't talk any trash. Don't do anything to the fans. Go out there. We're going to try to position you to get some fans to like you. Beat Solo the heel. We're not going to give you some badass story with John Cena where you're a diabolical heel. It's going to be an athletic competition. Maybe you guys will shake hands afterwards. I bet you that's what they're planning. When he beats Cena, they're going to shake hands. Cena's passing the torch in a friendly way. Gunther has no identity. Gunther has no character. Gunther he comes out. Go play in traffic. That would be more fun. That's not even a hot take anymore. You guys know that. We're supposed to because we all liked Walter and we all see all this bright future for Gunther. But you know you feel nothing when this dude steps out from that curtain. Nobody's going, oh man, Gunther's wrestling. And he just feels and seems more boring than ever when he is wrestling. It's almost like he's so checked out because Helmsley got him to that point. And you can go on and on with this freaking show. You even got LA Knight facing Jay Ederman, face versus face. So you have LA Knight moving on in this stupid tournament, but he's got to face the 0 to 12 demos superhero, Jey Uso. So why would you split your audience and do LA Knight dirty like that? Even in victory, Helmsley is doing LA Knight dirty. I'm going over all of Raw, and you wonder why this show can't crack the top 10. Or why it lost more than half its audience for a lot of this year. If you're wondering why SmackDown is still barely hanging on to 1 million in viewership. And trust me, ratings matter. If anybody tries to tell you differently, don't even try to discuss anything with them. Don't enter conversation. They're too stupid to understand. Ratings are everything. It's the reason that SmackDown is not on Fox anymore and getting 2.3 million viewers, which was really bad, by the way. But it was over 1 million more than they're getting right now just 1 year later. Fox wanted nothing to do with SmackDown. Numbers matter because the advertisers are real and they're following those numbers. It's the reason you don't have a Rampage in All Elite Wrestling anymore. Numbers matter. Wow, we spent a moment on that story, didn't we? Told you we were fully amplified. Let's move on, right? We'll kind of keep it into a little bit of the discussion we had earlier with the Masked Man attacking CM Punk at Survivor Series. And this has kind of turned into a clown show, right? A little bit of a circus because everybody is shouting out these names. And I know it's all in just fun, right? We're trying to make something out of nothing, right? Because I assure you, fans are putting more stock into this than Helmsley is. Fans are trying to come up with who the Masked Man is. And I assure you, Helmsley has no clue. I assure you, he put no thought into this, man. He just said, oh, we got to have an ending. CM Punk, it can't just be Breaker beating him straight up. Have a Masked Man jump in there, and that'll make people go, who was that? What a show. This is an amazing storyline. But it backfired. And immediately after Survivor Series went off the air, man, wow, did Helmsley once again, for the 24th time this year, feel heat from his own universe. Because we've seen it too many times this year. I mean, some of the bigger names, Jade Cargill, Jacob Fatu, now CM Punk. This is all in 1 year, the same masked assailant storyline. But people are trying to who was the figure underneath? And it looked like it was this person. And guys, for all we know, it was some local indie talent. It could have been anybody in the roster that's not going to be the actual person when Helmsley makes his decision. So I wouldn't even start going over like who it could look like. But you're hearing names like, first and foremost, Austin Theory. Nobody's stopping and thinking, wait, that wouldn't be fun. Austin, the vision right now is so bad. It's so stupid. You guys know that, man. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, now Logan Paul. Is Brock Lesnar just affiliated with Paul Heyman, or when he shows up, is he a part of the vision? Nobody knows. WWE doesn't know. The vision is just so bad. So you want to just add more people? You want to add another jobber, Austin Theory? Because that's what he is. We're not going to BS on this channel. I'm not going to go over all the things I'm supposed to say. But BC, Austin Theory is so good. BC, he just needs his chance. BC, he can really be somebody if given that chance. Listen, check. I hear you. I do. I'm not even arguing any of those points. This ain't it. Austin Theory with one other person got the booking he did. Him and Grayson Waller, no thank you. So now you put him with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed or a Logan Paul. What are we going to see, guys? A bunch of tag team matches with Bronson Reed and Austin Theory? You going to get some six-man tags with Breaker involved? No, another year where Liv Morgan has already declared that the Judgment Day is once again going to take over WWE, so we have to redo all of 2024 again. We got to watch non-stop Judgment Day segments. If that isn't bad enough, now we're going to watch a bunch of jobbers. Because until they do something actually badass with Bronson Reed, he's going to be a mid-carder. I don't care about Bronson. What's the reason? Because he goes around once in a while and he steals shoes. Austin Theory. Guys, we're still trying to make Braun Breaker the star he should be. They're still keeping him in flux. Do you realize he's been a face and a heel 4 times now? Helmsley has neutered Braun Breaker. So we're all just going, oh, Austin Theory, this could be amazing. Yeah, oh man, that's going to change WWE's landscape. That's going to bring back all the viewership, all the casuals. The 18 to 49 demo is going to go ballistic when they find out Austin Theory is the masked man. They're going to go, whoa, Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, Undertaker, Rock, John Cena, Austin Theory. And then you hear R-Truth, right? Oh, it could be R-Truth. That could be something, right? If R-Truth just showed up and just stomped CM Punk. R-Truth. When they got him telling ball jokes backstage. He's backstage talking about his balls with Nick Aldis. He's dressing up as Santa Claus. And now he's the masked man. You mean like capitalize when the momentum was there and strike while the iron is hot and R-Truth had all this talk going on in the summer? Maybe you could have done something? Yeah. But then you sit him at catering for 2 months. Then he comes out as Santa Claus. Then he's telling ball jokes. And now we're supposed to go, whoa, he's the masked man. I mean, that type of booking wouldn't even make sense. So I guess that does make sense for Helmsley. If it doesn't make sense, it makes sense. That's Helmsley's train of thought. Then you hear, what's another one? Montez Ford was a weird name going. I don't even understand. You can't even do that because if you are going by the build of the individual, it's not Montez, man. Montez, that would even make sense. Like, I'm all for Montez having a singles run. I have no interest to see Montez CM Punk out of nowhere. That's a little odd. That's literally like just picking a name out of a hat and going, oh, Montez, you're the master assailant. But there are a lot of fans that believe it is Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, of all people. BC, it makes sense because he's got the history with CM Punk. And don't forget, BC, he's most likely showing up at the Royal Rumble anyway. It makes zero sense because first and foremost, it's not believable. If you go back to this masked assailant going up the cage at Survivor Series, the dude made it up there in 6 seconds, basically. It would, and much love to Jericho, but I don't know if you've seen this dude these days. It's going to take Jericho 6 minutes to get up and over that cage. 6 seconds? There ain't no way Jericho's ass is getting in that cage, up and over it, in 6 seconds. It defies logic. It defies gravity. It defies every supernatural power that even 11 could produce. So right from the jump, you can't have it be Chris Jericho. It would never make sense. Nobody would believe that in a million years. And on top of that, he jumps over and he does a Rollins stomp. And it's not Rollins, by the way. I mean, knowing the doofus son-in-law, he could make it Seth Rollins. He could run out of time and options and go, screw it, let's just make it Seth Rollins. But we know for a fact that was not Seth Rollins. But that's what Helmsley does. That's why he likes these type of, quote, stories. Because he can make it anybody over time. He doesn't have to think about it now. And if he can procrastinate and not put any effort into it now, music to his ears. That's why you see the same repetitive masked assailant. But I assure you, that was not Rollins. So you're saying you're okay with this being Jericho. Forget the fact that he made it up and over the cage in 6 seconds. Maybe he's really been working out, basically, and he found the fountain of youth. But then he just delivers a Rollins stomp. So I don't... He's working for Rollins and took out Punk and not the Vision, the people that beat up Rollins. He's just showed up to show homage to Rollins. He just wants people to think it's Rollins. Jericho's master plan. He's the new leader of the stupid-ass Vision. The Vision of dumbasses. Where are we going with this? Chris Jericho? No, you don't bring this dude back as a mask guy from the Survivor Series. And there's a lot of... honestly, there's fans believing that truly was Chris Jericho. Not going to be. Like, it already was. Like, that was the actual guy in the ring at Survivor Series. Guys, he's not. We don't know the exact deal that he and Tony Khan has right now. But it sounds like right now, Tony Khan will allow Chris Jericho to... Or maybe not right. Maybe starting in January, Tony Khan will let Jericho free. But there's some type of deal still in place. There's some type of agreement between Khan and Jericho. Jericho is not showing up anywhere other than AEW in 2025. And I don't even think he's showing up there. But you're not going to see Jericho in a WWE ring in 2025 or any other ring in 2025. You're not going to see it. So no, that was not him. I assure you at Survivor Series. And they would make that known. It's a massive moment. You just wouldn't have Jericho just stay in a mask and then run off. And by the way, he ran off even faster than he got in like 4 seconds. Now, if you're telling me that Jericho is that fast in his 50s, then put him in the Olympics for the U.S. and let's collect a lot of gold medals. Ain't nobody catching up to Chris Jericho if that's what you're telling me. That wasn't Jericho, and no, it should not be Jericho. That is a dumbass story, and you don't want to involve... Don't do Jericho that dirty. That is doing Jericho filthy. Have him come back in this dumbass story. Let's move on to TNA landing a big TV deal with AMC. That's the channel, the station, the network that brought you The Walking Dead, I believe. And I also believe Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad was AMC, was it not? One of those kind of obscure channels, right? It's like a big channel, but it's kind of not. Like, you got to go deep into the channel selection to find AMC. But it's still a big deal for TNA, man. Because to this day, I would say, I don't think this is a hot take. I think most fans, if you ask them where to find TNA, what channel, they probably tell you, I have no clue. So this is big for TNA. Now, there was a lot of chatter, a lot of talk about the role that WWE played in landing TNA this deal. Fightful came right out and confirmed that WWE played a role in landing TNA this new AMC deal. So Fightful said absolutely, WWE played a role in this. So then Carlos Silva, the president of TNA, had to do some damage control, did an interview, and he pretty much denied that. He said, no, we did this on our own. But listen to these quotes, because this isn't good. We probably shouldn't be hearing this. He probably shouldn't be saying this. And this tells you a lot about TNA's direction and thought process. But Carlos Silva says, and he quotes, "We kept them in the loop. They let us go out and cut a deal." Guys, I wanted to quote that part of the paragraph because I want you to think about that. We kept them in the loop the entire time. Well, you say, okay, well, BC, they have a deal with the WWE and their NXT brand. So there's a partnership there. So they have to know everything in advance. Guys, I assure you, WWE would not let TNA know anything. If NXT is moving to a different channel, whatever's going on behind the scenes in WWE, TNA would be privy to none of it. That's how WWE does business. Under TKO, even more so. But TNA had to keep them in the loop. They're going out and trying to get a TV deal, but only if WWE says so. Listen to that next line, man. Listen to how wild this is. The president of TNA says, and I quote, "They let us go out and cut a deal. They let us." Is WWE Carlos's parents? Is WWE the parent of TNA? Like, oh, I don't know, like a parent company? Remember what I was telling you guys for a long time, man. Within the next year or two, you're going to see that TNA is under new ownership, and it's going to have something to do with WWE. I firmly believe it's going to have something to do with Vince McMahon and his new entertainment juggernaut that he created several months ago. It's an umbrella company. What that means is he's going to have a lot of entities under his new company umbrella. TNA would fit perfectly. Doesn't cost a lot. Already knows the wrestling/entertainment business. Vince McMahon would be on cloud 9, and his new company would be off and running. Every move that has been being made just screams that WWE is actually in control of TNA. Like, if they want to be. It's just about what percentage on any given week. But TNA is basically WWE's, not side chick, it's WWE's bitch these days. If we want to play the Hardy Boys theme, we're getting the Hardy Boys. When Joe Hendry, whenever we want him, he's going to show up on our show. And when his contract is up, by the way, we're taking him. He belongs with us. Who else you got? That doesn't work for TNA. Works mightily for WWE. They let us go out and cut a deal. How nice of them. They let us. And what if they didn't let you? You wouldn't have a TV deal right now with AMC? WWE said, no, we can't do that. Because now you're going to start competing with the channel that we're on. We don't want any of that. They let us. Guys, you have to listen to the words sometimes, man, because they'll tell you so much, man. They let us go out and cut a deal? This was all, what am I getting at? Guys, this was all by design anyway. These entities knew that TNA was going to be shopping for a new home this year. Okay, this thing started, this relationship, several months ago, right? That's when all of these discussions are being had behind the scenes. WWE wants TNA to have a good TV deal because when they make that purchase, or when their good buddy or father-in-law, Vincent Kennedy, swoops in with maybe some other investors or solely with his new company, it's a lot sexier. You already got the TV deal. WWE knew what they were doing. They want to position TNA in that spot. And when the time is right, they're going to try to eliminate All Elite Wrestling. They're already priming it, right? AEW is struggling to get 450 to 500,000 viewers consistently every week. They believe that if TNA goes to AMC, if they can stack it with some WWE talent, if it gets the new ownership in Vince McMahon, they believe that they can beat 450,000 viewers every week. That's not a big goal, actually. It's more than obtainable because the viewership number is so low. So what I'm saying is they honestly believe, and it is possible, that TNA, possibly even by the end of 2026, is the second biggest wrestling promotion in the U.S. How wild is that? We'll move on to Nicholas Khan, recently showing up on the Pat McAfee show yet again, just like Hunter Hearst Helmsley. At the beck and call of Pat McAfee and his producers, anybody in WWE will show up with bells on and treats. Gifts. Whether it's Christmas or Pat's birthday, doesn't matter, they have gifts. Now, a few years back, Pat McAfee made it on his own, man. He got over on his own in the sports broadcasting / podcasting world when everybody else was trying to shun the dude because he was a little outside the box, right? He refused to change. He let his personality shine through, and he got over. And Aaron Rodgers greatly helped that. Every Tuesday, Aaron Rodgers was on his show. Now, at that time especially, Rodgers was a polarizing figure. And he was on that show exclusively. Come to find out, they were paying Aaron Rodgers for those interviews. Every Tuesday, Rodgers was collecting a check from the Pat McAfee show. So that was smart business, man. Because we honestly believe it was just some friends hanging out, right? No, Rodgers was cashing in. And it was strategic. Because he was the most polarizing dude in sports around that time frame. So Pat McAfee is like, dude, if we can get him exclusively, so that catapulted McAfee. To the point where even ESPN couldn't look away, and ESPN brought Pat McAfee and his show on board. To this day, Pat McAfee's show is on ESPN in the afternoons. And if you follow this channel, I've said it from day one, man, I support Pat McAfee's show. Even when I'm in the office and I can't attend to the TV, I got too much business, I still leave the Pat McAfee show on. So it can gain that viewership. So that the advertisements play and all that will work itself out. But if I can contribute, I try. Even if I can't watch or listen to the show, I'll leave it on. So yeah, I support the Pat McAfee show, man. Because he got over on his own. So you know my words are true when I say what I'm about to say. Pat McAfee has no business being on the Raw commentary team or SmackDown or any weekly television show. Because Pat McAfee doesn't follow the product. He has told you that 1,000 times on his own show. Unfortunately, I just can't follow the product anymore. How many times does he have to tell you that? And you still, we need Pat back. Pat's coming back, yeah! So you want a guy on commentary that knows nothing about what's going on. He gets briefed a few hours before by Michael Cole, and then he just shows up for his sound bites. Hey, one big son of a bitch! It's yeeting time, Michael! I'm yeeting in my pants! Oh, I can't wait for that to happen. Oh, man. When Jey Uso starts yeeting, there goes Pat McAfee on the commentary table, and here we go, guys. The circus is in full effect. He's just sound bites now. It was fun for the first couple of years. Yeah, absolutely. As a supporter of the Pat McAfee show, yeah, man. And Pat brings some energy, right? Which is what I always ask for. Could you imagine Pat McAfee trying to wake up Joe Tessitore? Imagine the start of that Raw. Joe Tessitore sounds like he's waking up from a nap. And it's not on his own accord, by the way. So he sounds cranky, right? Like he's being woken up from a nap because he has to introduce us to Raw. Every Monday night. Welcome, everybody, to Monday Night Raw. What a show we have in store for you tonight. Wrestling action at its finest. And then Pat McAfee's going to come in with his overabundance of energy to make up for the lack of knowledge of the actual product. Joe, can you believe it? We're in California, Joe! Joe, we're gonna be eating tonight and dancing! Oh, Joe, it's so good to be back, Joe! Yes, indeed, Pat. It is going to be amazing as we are live for Monday Night Raw. We are! Aren't we? Joe, we're live! Yes, Pat, we are as live can be. Live. Let's take you back to what happened at the Survivor Series. Oh, this is going to be a joy for 2026. Oh, until college football is back, and then there goes Pat yet again. Because that's what this conversation is about, right? College football is coming to an end. Nick Khan was on the Pat McAfee show within the last 24 hours, and he is hyping up Pat's return yet again. So once again, Corey Graves or Wade Barrett, wherever they decide to place Pat McAfee, they're going to get Das Boot yet again. Now, I hate the word unfair, but damn, all the work that Barrett and Corey Graves put in, and because Pat McAfee's coming back and he has supposed name value, you have to go. We've already proven that this name value, Pat McAfee, doesn't bring in extra numbers or ratings. Nobody cares. Right? The ratings have shown you. They started going downhill when Pat McAfee was still on commentary. Jey Uso eating for 20 minutes every single Monday, lack of storylines, lack of characters we care about. Yeah, that all contributed. But let's not act like Pat McAfee brings in 500,000 more people, 250,000, 100,000, 20,000. He doesn't. Nobody's going by the channels and going, "Whoa, is that Pat McAfee on commentary? I gotta watch this." No, it does nothing. I'll tell you why he gets all this smoke blown up his ass by Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Nick Khan and all the suits and ties. Because he made it big. And if WWE are his buddies, if Helmsley is chumming it up at the Pacer game or on his show, if Nick Khan is popping in, man, we're affiliated with Pat McAfee. And that's a big deal. So it makes them feel special. Forget the product. They know that it doesn't bring in any extra ratings, so you have a dude on commentary that doesn't follow the product. He's a fan. That's awesome. Bring him to the front row. Put him in a storyline now that college is done. Put him on every pay-per-view. I've said that from day one. Put him on all the pay-per-views. I still don't mind to hear Pat McAfee. Absolutely. And because it's once a month, maybe he's more informed on what he's going to be speaking about. Works for everybody. We get Pat McAfee on commentary. He doesn't have to feel like a complete idiot. We don't have to get stupid, nauseating sound bites left and right. Works for everybody. But they don't care about the fact that it doesn't bring in actual numbers. They don't care that Corey Graves or Wade Barrett or anybody else that's been busting their ass every single show every week, they now have to get kicked to the curb for Pat McAfee. They don't care about all of that because it's good for them individually. They're hanging out with Pat McAfee. Guys, that's what this is about. Don't you understand? And now, for the next several months, we have to listen to a dude that has no idea what he's talking about. He doesn't follow the product. So he's just going to be screaming random things. It's going to be one soundbite after the other. And then he's gone again. College football or just stress. I mean, look, he's taken 9 hiatuses in the last 2 years. It wasn't just college football. There's times where other things came in, and he's like, well, WWE is the low man on the totem pole, because it always is. To Pat McAfee, WWE is the last thing in the priority list. All these other things take precedent. So WWE is constantly getting kicked to the curb. And then when Pat McAfee has any open availability, WWE comes running back, falling to his knees. Have some dignity, man. This company reaches new levels of pathetic. It's disturbing. What they will do to chum it up with any celebrity, they don't care if it's a D-lister. Watch any Raw or PLE. We spend 20 minutes every show Going over the front row and looking at all these, quote, celebrities, I'm not even joking. I know none of them. Topanga was the only one in the whole month from November into December. The only, quote, celebrity that I even knew was Topanga, and it was the only person that got a pop. Everybody else, nobody knows. We're hearing reports that comedian Andrew Schultz is going to be doing more with WWE. Well, that will put asses in seats. But they'll do anything to get celebrities in, man. So Pat McAfee's coming back again. Who's getting Das Boot, right? Monday night. So is it Wade Barrett, unfortunately, gets the... And then Wade goes to SmackDown, I guess. So Corey is definitely relegated to NXT. Or maybe, if they're lucky, 500,000 viewers will catch Corey Graves' calls. It's not right, man. It's not right. It's not good business. And the Pat McAfee honeymoon is over with, man. It just is. If I'm in the office, I'll keep it playing, the Pat Mac show. I'll still support. But this channel is all about the truth, right? The fact is, he has no business being on commentary on Mondays or Fridays. He doesn't. He doesn't know the product. Not well enough. His sound bites have gotten old, have gotten nauseating. Put him at the PLEs. Everybody wins. You still get Pat Mac. You keep it special. He's not stressed out because that's what's happened several times over the last couple of years. He had to go on these little mini hiatuses. Nothing to do with college football. That's separate. Mini hiatuses because he was taking on too much. And WWE had to be the one to get the boot. And Michael Cole and Helmsley and Nick Connor, like, whenever you're ready, man, we'll be right there. Well, it doesn't matter who we have in your place. This is your seat, man. Stop. Pat McAfee is not as big, by the way, as he was just a couple years ago. He's not. So there's no reason to take your own talent and kick him to the curb. PLEs, I think it's a victory for everybody. Once a month, Pat McAfee gets to show up. We get to hear Pat McAfee on commentary, do all his sound bites, and maybe he's a little bit more informed of the product. But I know I'm not the only one that is just done with this stupid rotation of Pat's back. Oh, Pat's gone again. Oh, Pat's back. Pat's gone again. Oh, college football's back. There goes Pat. Oh, college football's over. Here comes Pat. No thanks. Over it. If only they put this much time and energy into the people that are actually in the company, like that work there, that are busting their ass, that are doing what you hired them to do. They get nothing. Who was it recently, man? Oh, it was Corey Graves. You guys remember, man, the last time Graves got Das Boot, he was so pissed off that he put out some type of statement. He's like, could you imagine doing what you love and then being told you can't do it anymore, basically being a wrestler, then finding something else within the industry that you end up being really good at, and then being told you're not famous enough to keep doing it. It was something like that. It's a slight paraphrase, but Corey Graves was telling everybody that WWE told him, Michael Cole, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, they told him, hey, you put in the work, but sorry, not sorry, kid. Pat's coming back. And you're not famous enough like Pat. Corey Graves was told that. And he told everybody that that's what he was told. And he wound up in the doghouse, man. He was not seen for a couple weeks. Then he was down in NXT. He just recently really started to come out of that doghouse. And he better not open his mouth, because either way, he's going back to NXT, it looks like. And if he says anything, he's right back in the doghouse. But I don't blame Corey Graves for being upset, man. Because you're playing with these these commentators, even their careers. They're putting in all this work. They actually follow the product. They take this serious. It's not the bottom on the totem pole. This thing is top of their totem pole. But they have to all work around McAfee's schedule. That doesn't seem wrong to you? Again, a couple of years ago when the Pat McAfee's name held stock And even then, he wasn't bringing in viewers, but whatever. His name value, okay. And you like to hear Pat, right? Felt like he knew some of this stuff because he's a fan. But today, dude, it's a shell of what he once was. He's got all these things going on. You could tell when he's on commentary, that's the last place he wants to be. It's the last thing he wants to be doing. Not only does he not know the product, look at all of his last several months on commentary when he was doing Raw. This dude's face said it all. This show sucks. Pat knows that this is not what he became a fan of. And it screams when he's on commentary. None of us deserve that. Pat doesn't deserve that. So don't do everybody dirty. Have the dude show up at PLEs and that's it. Pay-per-views. Everybody wins. Guys, that's what I got for you, man. I'll wrap it up. There was a story out there that ESPN is unhappy with the new WWE deal. I didn't speak big on that because I already told you guys that. That's nothing new. This came off of a report from Freddie Prinze Jr., that's a former writer for WWE, by the way. And he's a Hollywood actor as well. Starred in some movies. So he got the writing job with WWE. Good dude. And he's got buddies, obviously, all over the industry. He talked to one of his buddies from Disney, who obviously owns ESPN, and they said, dude, he's like, basically, yeah, they're pissed, man. Like, they better start seeing returns on their investment. Sound familiar? Same thing Fox was saying, why they had to boot WWE SmackDown. They never saw a return on their investment. How sad is that? So now ESPN's like, dude, they're not seeing anything. They're pissed. So that's why this kind of took on a whole life of its own. But I've already had this discussion. I told you guys, I have my own sources. I have my own people that already know for a fact that Netflix and ESPN are furious. So that's nothing new to BC. Of course they're pissed off. I mean, look what their own writers did after the first PLE, WrestlePalooza. They bashed it. They know this is not good. They hear the chatter. They know the fans are pissed off. They know the company's not giving 110%. They paid all that money. They cashed the check, and they go, all right, on to the next. Yeah, ESPN's pissed. So is Netflix. Everybody is, man. The fans are pissed. WWE's not even in the top 10 of global viewership. Come on, man. This ain't good. You guys know that. And the suits and ties, these corporate executives for all these big conglomerates, they're now seeing that. Unfortunately, they gave them their money first. They should have saw it from the jump. Until next time. And there will be that next time. Amped up with BC. Unit. Salute. We'll check you.